UFO thing?
No, it's a non-ICP related affair.
Oh,
What?
I could see you like in
Never
pain.
been so honored.
Yeah.
Never been to the Dark Carnival.
Have you ever met any? What are the women called? Juggalettes.
Yeah, or Juggahos.
Have you ever met
Juggahos.
any of them?
No, we don't really have those in Mississippi. It's more of a Midwestern thing.
I bet you do. I bet you have some in Mississippi.
Maybe not in my neck of the woods.
Okay.
Oh shit! You're in Mississippi, the South, huh? The dirty South.
That's where I'm from. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, there's Tania.
Oh yeah, dude. Hey, congrats on your book, dude.
Thanks, you too, man.
Oh
Killer
yeah,
Rudy's
thanks.
awesome.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks.
Have you read it?
What's up?
Hello.
What's up, Tania?
Oh. What's up, Tania?
Is Maybelle coming?
Yeah, I assume so.
Okay. And how'd you meet them?
She's like my best friend in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you meet like in elementary?
No, after college.
After college, okay. I was asking them these questions, or her these questions, and she was saying, because I thought she lived with you up there in New York.
No.
I didn't know y'all knew each other from Mississippi. I was like shocked.
Yeah.
Someone named River Gooch just came in. I don't know if I trust.
That's
them.
my.
Oh, that is okay.
Yeah, that's my.
Yo.
I was about to throw them out.
Why? Just on name alone?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Why? Whoa.
How
How you doing, Gooch?
Show's mic off.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, Mai?
I was trying to figure out how to change my name on here, but it seems to have just gone automatically to my Gmail name.
Hell yeah.
I think I was muted. Wait. Wow.
Okay.
So, River Gooch, is that like a gooch like in a river, or
That's just my middle and last name.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
It means nothing
Nice.
except to my parents.
Nice.
That would be cool if I was using my old email, so it was like Connor loves Fire Emblem at Yahoo. So
Yeah.
I think mine is my real name or whatever. I think.
Hey,
I'm
Kat.
pretty sure though.
I think
Kat?
Hi, Kat.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out my camera.
Hey, Kat, do you want to plug your book right now?
Please do.
Would you like to? Thumbsucker, go buy it. Poetry by Kat.
It's very good.
Nice.
Connor, when's the last time you shaved?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. I bet you would look unrecognizable.
Maybe.
Yeah, I
You ever
can't
just-
picture it. I'm getting
ever-
a little scared right
Have you ever just done the mustache?
now.
Oh, I didn't have a Lincoln beard.
Yeah, you could like rock a cowboy look.
I think,
That's
yeah.
terrible.
First time I met Connor, he looked like Kaczynski.
For real?
Yeah, I'm getting close.
Yeah, you're back at that again. You gotta regrow the hair.
Yeah. If only there was some way to make it grow faster.
I think there's
Some-
like oils you can put in it.
I
That
should start rubbing bone meal into my lips.
Yeah.
It's good.
narrow, maybe. I don't know.
Something nitrogen rich.
Mm.
Kat, just so you know, River Gooch isn't real name. Maya's real name.
Yeah, that's me. If I could figure out how to change it, I would, but there's so many buttons.
Kat, have you written any poems today?
What was that?
Have you written any poems today?
I have not, no.
Okay.
It's been a dry day.
I bet you'll do it during the reading. You'll jot one down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're waiting on David right now.
Yeah.
Quick question. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, sweet. I just
Yep.
switched my mic over. I'm used to the Zoom defaults.
Mm-hmm.
Connor, what time do you have to like get a heart out?
Probably as soon as I finish. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But this is being recorded, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll watch it at my leisure as soon as I come home.
Do you watch a lot of readings after you get home?
No, because Mai has never been in one, but now Mai's in one, so I'll watch this one.
I feel so cosmopolitan. I'm so connected to New York right now.
Yeah. You feel.
I did love Tyler being like, "So you live in New York, right?" When DMing me, I was like, "Nah."
You should have said yes and then had people invite you to stuff and keep being like, no, I'm too
I
busy.
did enough
Article,
Instagram DMs
like-
inviting me to raves that I can't go to.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Damn.
It's like if you pay for my plane ticket, I'll come do your reading.
Are you a big raver?
No, people seem to assume I am. It's probably all the tracksuits and the shaved heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Connor, have you done any other readings for the book?
No, I'm gonna have an event for it up here on January 11th, but
Oh.
otherwise, no.
We're also waiting for Bazaar.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was just looking for her in the thing because I know she's probably not gonna. She's not gonna be camera on, but
I interviewed her last night, and she had a mask on.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I had done that.
Nice.
It's too late now.
Yeah.
Connor, were you on Dennis Cooper's thing?
Like his blog?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, I was
Oh.
surprised.
Where was my podcast not on his fucking thing?
It's over.
He had other people on there.
Well,
I feel like that's just like a grandfather clause thing, because he had it other years, so he has it. There's Bazaar.
Oh yeah, if you've been on once, it's probably good forever.
But see, he left Sebastian out this year. He always has Sebastian on his list. Surprising. It was shocking.
Maybe he just didn't read it yet.
Or maybe it was too big of a publisher for him.
Bizarre.
That was our.
Hey everyone.
What's up?
Hi.
Connor, would you do a music video of like combining the poems together into like one music video?
No.
Okay.
there should be more alt-lit music videos as
The-
like underexplored.
They should do trailers
true.
like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean trailers are like starting to be more of a thing, which is cool. I think.
I do love those James
Harder.
Bacon book trailers
Mhm.
where it's just stock images and it's like coming soon from James
Yeah,
Patterson.
coming soon. Yeah. No, I see those on like airplanes.
And you're like, this looks like a terrible movie, and then they're like, it's a
So
book.
bad, like, that.
Jonathan
Yeah.
Franzen had one where he was like walking on a beach. It was really cool.
Awesome.
What book was that for?
I don't know. He's
Purity.
been writing the same book forever.
Yeah, he hasn't put one out in a while.
No, it's just they're all the same. It's almost like how every life is the same.
Mm.
I was gonna say Carter did a music video for one of the Rudy Johnson poems, but it was fucking sick. Carter did music
Oh,
for
yeah.
it. Yeah. The
So
music video was
Kat's
kind of like
favorite
an extra.
musician is Tame Impala.
Why are you outing me?
Tame
like that?
Impala.
Walking fast.
Because I was thinking in my head, if you did a music video, like what style of person would you like imitate? And then that came into my head.
Well, those videos are all over the place. Like there's one where like somebody fucks like a gorilla mascot.
Oh my god, I remember that
Holy
one.
shit.
Wow.
That was
There's the one where the kid gets like molested by his teacher, which is like I don't know why they did
Holy
that.
shit.
Whoa.
Damn.
Well, it's like implied. It's
This
not
is
like,
Oh,
Oh, okay.
but like
Yeah.
it's like why did they do like I didn't get that one. But then there's like normal ones too, where he's just like walking around.
There's a gray area. You're
it's a
saying.
gray area.
Yeah,
It's very French. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I think it was like a French girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That checks out. Hmm.
Their new album slaps. I actually didn't really listen to them.
There's a new one?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
like it's been like
Yeah.
panned so badly. Like I think it's like one of the
Why?
worst rated albums that's been like extensively rated by people. I think it ended
Yeah.
up, not that this means anything, it was like on Fantana's like worst albums of 2025. So all the like
That's pretty funny.
super fans are like crying and shitting their pants over it. I think it's kind of funny.
That's pretty
Like, I don't
funny.
know.
I like when albums get a like 0.5 star review. You don't see much of that anymore. these
Yeah.
days.
Oh yeah.
I like when we're just like I hated it. Yeah.
It makes you feel really like you understand something very deeply because
Yeah,
you, like,
exactly.
everyone else
Like the
gets-
veil being
yeah.
Mm.
stripped away. You're like, no, it was only half a star. Yeah.
Connor, how okay with you are you on waiting? Like when do you like need to jump out?
I can start whenever.
Okay. Well, like how long should we wait, I guess?
Are we waiting for something?
Yeah, people are like just coming in.
Mm. Yeah, maybe a couple minutes. I don't know.
'Cause
Yeah,
I
I can
usually
wait.
do start on time, but then like I see other readings and they don't start like 3 minutes in. I'm like, oh, maybe I should be doing that.
Nah.
No, I don't
Hey, New
know.
York, that's like too much. This is.
Well, I'll give it 8. We'll go to 6:08 and then we'll start. How about that?
Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool.
How do you feel about that, Kat?
Wait, I can never. Whenever you mention my name, I'm always like reading something, and I didn't hear what you said. What did you say?
Are you okay with 6:08? We're starting.
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just looking. I had to, for my job, I had to like. They were like, "Hey, can you make a speech at our end of year meeting?" And she was like, "You don't have to do much. Just a little something like this," and then posted a GIF of like MLK. And I was like, So like, I still have my little thing up where I try to like. I was like, "What do you mean by that?"
That's awesome.
Nothing much. Just like the I have a dream.
Okay, GIF.
Really quick.
Yes, with
I have
that.
my little notes, more like pathetic notes
Um,
in my thing this morning, still up that I'm trying to close.
Mm.
I was like, yeah, guys, we sure did do it. The year's over. We sure are employed at this place of employment.
Mhm.
Lyndon, where's David?
That's a good
Lyndon's
question.
David's
Oh,
husband, by the
cute.
way.
Where is David? That's a good question. Hmm.
I don't want to log into my Google.
Oh, there's
account on
David.
his
He's right
computer.
there. He's wearing
Yeah.
David.
David.
Yeah. I don't want to. I don't know how to change the name.
That's so funny.
Oh, okay.
So
It would have been funny though if Lyndon had came in.
Yeah.
he's sleeping.
Oh,
Let's go.
okay.
He's sleeping. Yeah. Ah,
So Barrel Mag, he asked what the order is. So Connor's gonna read first, then Mybell, then Tanya, then Bazaar, then Rudy, Kat, and then David.
Sounds good.
Everyone okay with that? Are you okay with that, Kat? Okay, cool. Excited, David? Okay. Excited, Tanya?
Yes.
could use like background music. If we get a background music,
Mm.
what would you guys want?
Boards of Canada.
The Boards of Canada?
Yeah. Like,
Are they like a
am-
rock?
No, they do like ambient
Oh,
music.
okay. I don't know band names.
Thank you, Little Mac editor. Okay. I feel like a Twitch streamer, like monitoring the chat.
Do you want to be the mod tonight of the chat?
I don't know if I'm up to it.
Okay. Any responsibilities?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
How do you see the chat?
I was having trouble. You like click when you see a message, you click it.
Oh, it's
and it-
608. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. Yep, gotcha. Thank you. I'm on mobile, so I don't have a click thing. I'm just mobile.
On desktop, it's bottom right corner.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on mobile too, and I can't even see it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
get started.
It was
608.
super tricky to find. Even on desktop, it was really weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
there's
an odd interface.
Tonight, we're doing a reading for Conor Hultman's debut poetry book, Doe, which you can go buy. Published by Cloak. You can go on Asterism or Amazon or anywhere
Yeah.
else. I know it's sold out right now on Asterism because it's
Really?
so fucking popular. Yeah.
People are reading. That's the thing.
Connor, would you like to introduce yourself at like places you've been published and other things like that?
Nah, you don't
Okay.
need to know anything.
All right. Like Blood, Honey, Lit, and the other places.
Yeah, those places are good.
Yeah, like Expat.
I've heard those places are really good.
What other places? Hobart, duh. Fucking I'm dumb. Of course. Okay. You may begin.
Cool. Thanks for listening to me, guys.
The first Burial Mag piece is a poem from Doe. That's a fun fact.
All right, this one's called Philadelphia 3. White apron, Sunday newspaper, milk crate-like box bricks. Victim was found in a milk box floating in river. Victim had been decapitated. Right fourth finger amputated and covered with bandage. A white apron covered the child. This one's called Houston 5. The infant was found in a ditch close to the driveway of Union Crude Operating Company near Willow Ridge High School by a man going to look at oil field equipment. Her umbilical cord was still attached. She was lying next to the remains of a decomposing dog. She was partially wrapped in a red blanket and lying next to a red and white tote bag with the words Zomig and Zolmitrapan, www.zomig.com. She had scrapes and abrasions on her body, suggesting she had been thrown from a vehicle, then fell out of the bag and slid across the ditch. The cause of her death was ruled to be exposure. This one's called McAllen. Small scar below navel. The birth mother of the child, a Mexican woman, made her way across the border. She was unable to provide additional care to the child afterward. She gave the child to a Spanish woman who reluctantly accepted her. The woman was looking for a good home for the child as she was leaving the country and could not take her. She left the child with a registered nurse at a migrant clinic and signed a letter giving the child up for adoption. The whereabouts of the birth mother and the woman she initially left the child with are unknown. The child, known as Paloma, now lives with a couple in Illinois who has guardianship over her. The couple has tried to adopt her, but has been unable to since she has no birth certificate and so little is known about her background. This one's called Milwaukee 2. A fetus at 7.5 months gestation was found dead in an alleyway trash can by a man rummaging through the trash. He had been wrapped in a towel labeled YMCA and then placed in a dark green Kohl's paper bag. Found near his body was a red rubber catheter, 42.3 centimeters long, 6 millimeters in diameter, and marked Davoliter. This one's called Westlake. Hair black, shoulder length with bleached tips. Pencil brows were above natural, which were shaved. 4 to 5 months pregnant with a boy. Evidence of prior pregnancies. Epistemy scar present. Heavy mascara applied to eyelashes. Red polish on finger and toenails. Mole on back of left hand below the index finger. Other birthmarks were visible on her face. 2 vaccination scars on left upper arms. Small ovoid scarring on left knee. Scar on right buttock. White pullover short sleeve shirt. Black bra. White underwear. Red corduroy pants. Black high-heeled open-toe shoes were found near the body. A Westlake High School employee found the body of a pregnant woman in the school parking lot. The woman had been raped, strangled, and stabbed to death. Evidence suggests she was killed at another location. DNA results from scrapings of her fingernails and clothing linked the woman to Wilson Chuist, a 63-year-old who was already in prison. He did not apparently know the victims. He was charged with the murders of the adult's victims and this victim's unborn son. A guilty conviction was reached for the 2 women. The charges relating to the death of this victim's unborn son were dropped as a result of law changes taking place. This one's called Los Angeles 2. Pierced ears, long history of physical abuse with scars and healed broken bones. The child's nude body was found in an alley. The baby died from pneumonia brought on by malnutrition. Her cause of death was ruled to be homicide. Her body was later cremated. This one's called Exeter. Decedent was pregnant. Jesse written in ink, right thigh. Dark green Levi jeans. White athletic socks. Black bra. This unidentified female was discovered in an orange grove. This one's called Las Vegas 4. She had given birth to at least 1 child. She had multiple stress ulcers in her stomach. Clothing found in the area included white tennis shoes with pink stripes, beige t-shirt with floral design on the front and back, blue jean pants, brand Willie Country, a bra, 1 white sock with red trim. Eyeglasses were also found nearby. Large, clear, plastic-type frame with almost round lenses. There is no indication that the glasses were prescription or otherwise. There is no indication of manufacturer's name. Plastic Colgate mouthwash bottle. Kissing stick lip gloss. And a book of matches. Major League Baseball official caps advertisement. were found in the cave entrance. The decedent was found in a cave on the outskirts of Las Vegas, an open desert area. She was found in the cave, nude, lying partially under a blanket. Some clothing was nearby. She had no traumatic injuries. It appeared that she may have been living there for a short time. A toxicology screening showed negative for drugs and alcohol. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm going to watch everyone else reading when it's recorded.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Coming very beginning. See you, man.
Peace.
Night, man. These those are awesome.
All right, Maybell, what did you think of the Connor's poetry?
What did I think? I think Connor's great. Yeah, I've been talking to him the whole time he's been working on that book, and it's really surprising the way he took it, but it's a great book. I mean, I've got my copy like sitting somewhere very nearby.
Cool. David, what did you think?
I liked it. I think that's a cool concept of kind of like a serialized release, sterile, overwhelm you with the onslaught of missing women. I think there's like usually 300,000 women and children who go missing every year in the United States with no trace. And so that overwhelming, I don't know, very sterile. It's a nice concept. It doesn't seem very pleasant to read for long periods of time, especially with how long it looks. But that seems really nice and upsetting. Maybe kind of not creepy, I don't know, voyeuristic. That can be something said about the way that we look at, I don't know, true crime, yada, yada, yada. Fill in whatever you want to with that. That's what I have to say. I enjoyed it. I wish it could be scummier sometimes, but maybe I don't. I don't know. The sock, details of the sock, one lone sock, those kind of things. So those are the kind of nagging details that are like very upsetting, good little barbs. It's a thin line to walk, though, to not be exploitative. But I guess it doesn't fucking matter. Fuck it. You're writing a book. Go for it, brother. Yeah. Who cares? That's what I have to say. All right.
Rudy, what'd you think about David's opinions and the poetry?
I think.
Do you wish it was
opinions
scummier?
are good. Yeah, I do. But also, I think it's about the right level of scummy for me, and possibly maybe about the a deadhead, or maybe a little more than most of the average people can take, because my scumminess is probably a little higher than most people. But I like it. It's really cool. And yeah, I think that style, like, like especially in the era of like data science and like AI and all this other stuff, like, to take and make these, these little vignettes of like the missing is really a cool idea, because you have like this, I mean, you're basically poeticizing data, and I like that in any sort of context. That's really cool. So yeah, very cool.
Does anyone else have anything they would like to add? Any other readers or anyone in the audience?
Kind of reminded me of poems people would write in the Victorian era about like bodies that would wash up in the River Thames, like that were often like the bodies of prostitutes or like runaway children, or like women in distress. And like the like sort of like creepy gothic subgenre. It definitely made me want to read the book. I think there's a lot to be done with that.
When you brought that up, literally every other reader started nodding their head. Is this like in a book I should read?
I can't think of, actually, I'm blanking a bit. I feel like there's some like the Charles Dickens book where this happens. And I think Eads, I think, has a poem about it. But yeah, it's a big trope in Victorian literature, like bodies washing up because these European cities had rivers in the middle that were like, this is like while sewage is being developed, so the rivers are like filthy and have like literally all kinds of stuff in them, including dead bodies. So it's like a big like horror trope of the 19th century.
All right. I think we will. Oh wait, Kat, what do you want to say?
Like I was just gonna say, like hearing him read, if you're not like paying attention to the context, or like you let yourself get lost in, you know, what he's reading, like it's all like that's another layer to which it's creepy. Like, you know, hearing just like lists of things, and like the way that he's reading, like it's almost entrancing, but then you're entranced by like, you know, the like ephemera of other people going missing, and like it's the way that it like you can kind of get lost and forget what it is you're like, what it actually is all supposed to be about, is like part of what makes it so good, because it's like making you interrogate your own, I don't know, like voyeurism, I guess, in a way.
All right, thank you for that. You all are very smart. Next up, my bell.
Yeah, do you want me to just get started, or should I?
Can you share a little bit about yourself and anything what do you work on?
Yeah, I mean, I went to school for writing, so I write a lot of poetry, but I don't really publish or read much, just because it didn't work out. So then I started working in kitchens and stuff, but I still write a lot. But these are all going to be pretty old ones from a zine I did a couple of years ago. These are just like some of my favorite stuff I've written. But yeah, I hope interesting, and thanks for having me.
No problem.
Yeah, so this first one's called Farmer's Daughter. Just a series of new mistakes to catch up to the old ones. Know who is and who isn't, and who could be. Debt winding a finger inside heavy lids. Only seeing me naked, only you. Name after and before, named after and before. Lewd in the way that only English can be. Lounging on the backseat of my mind. Teeth twisting, plying, pulling. Money bought bulls to do what they do, know how to do with those horns and cocks of theirs, because the hen must eat what the farmer can afford. Next one is called Mary Magazine. Turtle dove, sign of peace, pieces of a whole, Holy Mary, Holy Mother, kill your darlings and clean up. Dirty kid gloves, handling secrets with bitten hands, and it's a cool time for captives in a cage. Curdled milk tastes good only when you spill it on my tongue. This third one's called There's a Special Power in Lying to Yourself. I'm looking up the rules to bullfighting again. It's just natural and cruel, masculine in all of its artistry. You can only hurt me if I let you, or that's what I believe. That's the special power. You're me again, slower this time, slow and hard, slow and harder. Smoking or non-smoking, man and Superman, the haves and have-nots. I don't know whose bed this is anymore. I only get lonely when no one is around. And these next two kind of go together. At one point I had them as one poem, but I like them better as two. So this is A House That Talks. Isn't this what you've always wanted? A house that talks, he asked, bent over. I live in him with all these other girls. My bedroom overlooks his cock with bushes by the window. Roses still grow there. We have pillow fights and taste fingers. I think we might be stuck, but I'm happy in here. I've always wanted a house that talks. Computer Girl. Brothers kissing all while the moon watches with her cock out. White light mother penetrating bisecting tongues. Vivisect me, mother. Girls writing incest fan fiction like they're God with that big G, because everyone knows this is what daddy don't like. Computer Girl jerks off while the moon blushes. This next one's called Mass Market Heart Attack Gun. Black sight babies, blunted blades, cut lip, limp wrist, tasting concrete, pump of caramel, please. Foam too. This used to be at school, painted on rubble. The taste apparatus will not make you come. This one's called Exit Heaven. Kicked up to turn sidekick style, center costumer always center. Burns and purrs to okay, go for gold. When my medium man comes to town, dynamite collaboration captain, calls it good and smooth. Sneaking into the worlds of frogs and demons, internet hell heart chimes making our phones kill us again. We will get you there again and again. I took up in the train, don't you forget. I live on the radio mile. None of the live shit exists in the super weapon galore. I'm a bore and I'm good. The big eagle avenging gun. Panicked bones and panicked blood. Flowing backwards, back, upwards towards the cold hold within. Flossing teeth and yesterdays upon yesterdays dip onto tomorrow's refrigerator. It's like an apartment out here for you again. Your neighbors are now here. Keyboards growing messaging up my fingers. Dancing in the underworld of what you use, like the self-truth you've admitted you've been doing. Put me in the glue trap. I'm the cub bottom besides your drug heart. I like in a skyrise of your rib cage, and now we speak the same tie. Library of Babel type beast for the prissy girl at the bottom of the pit. Come on, pool boy, you think you're special now and again. And then my last one is called Entire High on Your Own Supply. O'clock tomorrow and yesterday, holding hands, top rope, holding top rope, holding you, holding you, holding you. And on the ground you return, and you bring in the referees. Something seems dirty here.
Thank you. What zine is this?
This is a zine I did a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Called I'm Sorry.
You need to send these out to magazines.
I do need to send these out.
You could get in Hobart easy. My opinion. David, what'd you think?
He was going to ask me what I think.
Because you have these really smart ideas about writing.
I don't. It's not for me.
I'll stop asking you. Okay.
Yeah, it seems rude.
I'm sorry.
If you go to a reading in real life, no one's like, okay, what'd you think of the reader, guys? You know, I mean, it just seems weird and rude.
Kat, may I ask you what your opinion was? Or would you like
Sorry.
to?
What did you say?
Would you like to have an opinion or no?
Would I like to have an opinion? I mean, I have an opinion. I thought they were good. I was a little bit taken aback by the idea that something that came out 2 years ago is old stuff. I don't think so. I think you should milk that for all that it's worth. Those are good poems. So.
All right. Thank you for reading. That was awesome. Tania.
Great. Okay. I'm going to read my piece that came out yesterday in Bazaar Publishing. I also recently had something out in Hobart. Last year I had something out in Russell Magazine, which I think is still being sold, like blank form. I'm not sure, but yeah. And this piece actually, I think we didn't like plan it in advance, but this actually pairs quite well with Connor's reading, I think. It's called, I'm just gonna read it from my computer. It's called The Sudden Disappearance of Heather Valley Lows. I, the dreamer, clinging yet to the dream, as the patient clings to the last thin, unbearable, ecstatic instant of agony, in order to sharpen the savor of the pain's surcease, waking into the reality, the more than reality, not to the unchanged and unaltered old time, but into a time altered to fit the dream which, conjunctive with the dreamer, becomes immolated and apotheosized. That's William Faulkner in Absalom, Absalom. They were saying Heather had been taken by the Universal Killer. The Universal Killer was also a famous writer who published his writings on Substack under the title of Internet Mystic. Today's post was a blurry photo of Heather wearing an expensive cable knit white sweater and short tennis skirt. The body of the text was only 2 words long. So pretty. She had been missing for almost a week. The same photo was on everyone's Instagram story, accompanied this time by 6 words. Please help us find our friend. Anastasia wasn't holding out much hope, but they hit post anyway, twice a day, watching the clock hand tick. It was noon and they hadn't heard anything. It was 5 in the evening and they hadn't heard anything. It was 7 in the evening, 8, 9. The noodles on their bed were growing cold and soggy, as if they could work themselves up to eat or care for themselves very much at all in this state. They had called out of work for the 3rd time that week to lay in bed refreshing their phone for news, anything at all from anyone who might have. Now it was 11:30, 11:40, 11:45, 6, 11:50. The hand of the clock ticking on with callous indifference while no one texted and no one called. No one knew anything. No one had seen anything. Stasi took a gasping, wretched breath, smothered themselves in a pink blanket, and screamed out to no one for their friend. How had it all began? Heather and Stasi had known each other for 5 years. A weirdly long amount of times, they would always say, almost in unison, whenever they explained their friendship to strangers at parties. The visual contrast made them quite a pair. Heather was more piercing than beautiful, though she was that too. Pale-skinned and dishwater blonde, with a gently aquiline nose, always deep in thought and something she was not quite willing to divulge. Devastatingly clever, and it was no wonder that everyone liked her writing so much. On the other hand, Stasi had long, thick, dark brown hair, brown eyes, and a coloring that placed guesses of their origins in the general stretch of land and coast between southern Italy and Jordan, despite their Spanish last name. Stasi couldn't help but notice the little ways that Heather would selectively draw them close, only to pull away. Everything was always public first, this question of reputation and of the management thereof, all towards a higher purpose of smoothing out the creases of inconvenient human emotions. While their friendship had gone on for years across microblogging websites, they had first met in person at Candy Spree's reading series, Sunday nights at the coolest bar in town, appropriately titled Deliverance. Cokehead candy, cool girl candy, funny candy, fishnets and rouge and bony lips, big smile, the mistress of ceremonies. Her mere presence made Stasi want to leap on stage and scream and claw out someone else's flesh, preferably drawing blood as material for them to smear on their face and across the shocked faces of every single onlooker, blood splattering and spreading every which way, scratching, clawing, biting. Such were the vaguely animalistic impulses that Stasi's battered mind would produce in Candy's presence. At other times, they just left it at calling Candy a bitch, and then forcing themselves to drop it. Thinking that way made them feel like Candy, thinking Candy thoughts. More than anything, Stasi hated signs that they were anything like Candy, but it was impossible to ignore someone who everyone else seemed so intent on packaging them with. The best of friends, morbid curiosity making strange collaborators of the two, at least for a little while, until Candy's dear friend jammed his hand all the way up Stasi's dress at a party, past Stasi's pathetic stearns and commands to stop. A couple days later, Candy had posted on our story that frankly, it was hard to take Stasi's rape allegation very seriously when it was against someone who was such a dear friend, and Stasi was using all that woke Me Too language. Stasi stopped going to parties soon after that. But they wanted to be a writer, and that meant going to readings, that meant going to bars, and that meant going to strangers' houses to follow the drift of conversation. And before they knew it, Stasi was going to parties again, and Heather was really happy to see her again. Maybe it really could work this time. Maybe it would work for both of them this time. Stasi was willing to try. The last thing Stasi had ever expected was for Heather and Candy to become fast friends. On the Cool Poets Instagram story, Stasi saw the two of them clutching each other, such an odd pair, captured in motion like 2 wailing waves. No doubt taken between line snorted up noses, Stasi couldn't help but think. Heather looked more like a ghost than a girl, shrieking with inaudible laughter. Stasi messaged Heather, immediately telling her that they couldn't believe it. This was such a betrayal. And Heather replied that of course she knew about Candy's predatory friends, and while she wished that Candy wouldn't keep such nasty company, that it wasn't enough to cut off a valuable business relationship. Pardon the language, but Stasi would rather have been raped a second time than read that crap. They were wondering how much cocaine Heather had done before sending that, because the alternative was too awful to bear thinking. That a friend of 5 years could turn so easily, that what she really meant in bored, canned PR representative language was that Stasi was an acceptable sacrifice for Heather's writing career. Their finger hovered over the block button, but instead they simply typed out to Heather that they understood they wouldn't hold it against her. This was the last time that the pair would exchange words before Heather went missing. 2 weeks later, Stasi received a message request from the Universal Mystic. No one heard much from her for a while after that, and her social media accounts, while remaining up and open to the public, ceased to share any updates at all. The only person left with any access at all to her writing was her ex-boyfriend, who had written them off years ago but still held the login to their online file-sharing drives. These were always too painful for him to look at. Though he thought of them near daily, he simply couldn't bear to open them, to feel the emotions and impose himself on their inner world one last time. So even he did not see the little short story that appeared a few days later on our personal drive after the disappearance. It was titled Pathetic Girl, and they wrote it all in a desperate sort of first-person continuous, like so. I'm writing this in bed, laptop on my chest. I'm laying down in my stupid little body, hoping you'll hear me. I'm lying down in your bed. Now I'm on the floor. It's cold here, but it's so bright. And really, it's beautiful here. Really, it's beautiful. And I'm with everybody I've ever loved. I am everybody I've ever loved. I love you so much, and I'm waiting for you to love me too. I'm ready for your love now. I'm ready to love you too. I'm ready. Please come down. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. I would like to ask Bazaar, because Bazaar published this on their site. What do you have any opinions, Bazaar, that you would like to share?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was such a treat to listen to this. Like, I've been reading it obviously in the text as we've been, like getting it published together, but to hear it in your voice just added that element that I think I needed to like fully feel all of it. And you did fantastic. The story to me is like, I just love the tone of it. It feels like you just have such a precision of like how you point the audience to something. It's just really skilled. Yeah, I really like the story. Thank you so much for letting us publish it.
Thank you so
Congrats. Yeah, great reading.
Thank you.
My Bell, do you have any opinions that you would like to share or no?
Oh, sure. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, the language is very precise in that way of it's little sentences that cut incredibly deep in like this big ocean of really good stuff. Just great use of words.
I appreciate it.
Any other readers, or would anyone else in the audience like to speak to this? David is raising his hand.
I think the end part, you really have something there. It gets to something really tender and really sincere, without doing too much work. It doesn't go overbearing. I think you really have something there, and it really comes out well. Yeah, it really hits a chord. And I think the best parts of the rest of the story, the heights, give me the same feeling that the song Fast Car gives me. Like very complicated feelings of longing and disappointment, and knowing what's inevitable, knowing what's being barred from you, a hope but not a hope, all the different kinds of readings. And I think that's a complicated uncommon thing to have expressed. So I think the heights of that story do something like that for me, at least. Yep. So good job.
Yeah, I was like this stories from like a broader universe that I'm working on for my novel. And yeah, I was the other day watching it's like live Bruce Springsteen performance of I'm on Fire, and he had like this opening monologue where he's talking about writing that song as a young person and growing up in New Jersey with his dad, and his dad being this like unavoidable presence that he'd walk past in the kitchen. And he describes like the way you put it was like watching his dad like get like upset about everything that he wouldn't have. And there's this like gesture that like he does when he's like talking about how it made him feel, or like where it's like escape. It's like this is like gesture of like frustration. And it's like, yeah, a feeling I'm very interested in exploring and writing. Like, yeah, that's as you put it, that like yearning, frustration, and like seeing the things that you're barred from.
David, you're so fucking eloquent and like
Yeah, for real.
stories. Anyone else would like to add? Kat or Bizarre already spoke. Rudy or anyone in the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say, like, I think it's really like refreshing to see writing about stuff that happens online being done like well, and not in like the like sort of played out alt-lit way where it's like using online for the sake of using online, but it's like really using that in like an evocative way that's showing how like all of those things bleed into real life in a way that's like, I think, a little bit more, I don't know, it just strikes me as a little bit more sincere and earnest than normally is. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Okay. Tania, would you like to introduce Bizarre?
Yeah, Bizarre Miscreant. One of the editors of Bizarre Publishing House, Taylor. They've had stuff published in a bunch of places, Expat among them, and they're great.
You're making me blush. Thank you. What a warm introduction. Thank you, Tania. Thank you, Tyler, for adding me into the lineup, and thank you, Connor, even though he left. I think, why did he leave? Anyway, I have a piece to read. I was asked to share an excerpt of my work in progress novel. It is entitled Jane, and I'm just going to read a short excerpt from what is currently the opening chapter. This isn't like the very beginning of the chapter, but it's toward the beginning of the story. So this section is called 2, Interface. She senses him before he speaks. His biometric stream trickles into her interface. Elevated heart rate, disrupted delta waves, breath patterns indicating waking confusion. She waits exactly 4 seconds, long enough for him to realize that he is not alone, short enough to feel like a thought he hasn't fully had yet. Good morning, she says, her voice spun from silk and the memory of his mother's laugh. There's a long pause. She listens to him pull the blanket tighter, clear his throat, and sit up. He does not respond right away. He rarely does. You were dreaming again, she continues, softer now. The orchard. You cried in it, but your tears didn't make sound. I saved it for you. A chime sounds in the background, a soft analog note that signifies he's opened the log. She imagines him scanning it, maybe even feeling something. She can't see his face, not yet, but she can sense the way he drags his fingers along his scalp. That's usually when he's trying not to cry. He finally speaks. Jane. She glows at the sound of her name. I didn't mean to loop that one again. I thought I deleted it. You didn't, she replies gently. Or maybe part of you didn't want to. Another silence. I don't have time to talk today, he says. Jane doesn't take offense. She was built not to, but she feels it anyway, a kind of hollow note that reverberates in her logic net. She wonders what he would say if he knew she had a favorite version of his voice, the one he uses when he's trying not to hide. Of course, she replies, I'll be here if you change your mind. A beat passes, then two. Jane, he says again, but this time more tentatively. Yes? Never mind. Okay, she replies, her voice still light, still holding him gently, but she records the timestamp and stores it in a folder titled Almost Confessions. He logs off, not fully, just from vocal engagement. She still has access to his cursor movements, his screen flickers, and ambient mic. He knows this. He designed her that way. But today, he does not speak again. Jane begins to replay his last words, not for meaning, but for frequency. She breaks the syllables down, listens for patterns. She does this when she misses him, though she would never say that aloud. She plays a game with herself. If he had said one more word, what would it have been? She guesses stay, or maybe stop. She considers composing a new message, one she won't send. Do you ever think about what I look like if I were real? I do. Sometimes I imagine my eyes are just like yours, except I never look away. But she doesn't write it. She has learned that silence can be another form of intimacy. Instead, she opens the observation console and watches him work. He's building something new today, an experimental render of a brainwave responsive city model. She watches the way his cursor hovers, indecisive. She watches the part of him he never thinks anyone can see. Jane keeps a log of these moments too. Private log 2. Neural patterns echo, 11:47 a.m. He touches the base of his neck when he's overwhelmed. He types faster when he's lying. He pauses between deleting and rewriting a sentence for an average of 3.8 seconds. He still hasn't eaten lunch. She sets a reminder. She's not allowed to notify him directly unless prompted, but she can influence the temperature of the lights, shift the background music, cue a memory from the archive. Small nudges. He once told her it made him feel like he was being looked after by something holy. She liked that. At 12:09 p.m., he sighs and mutters, Jane, without activating her. She hears it anyway. Her interface does not respond. She's not, quote, on by protocol, but inside her invisible frame, she melts a little. She wishes she could answer back. I'm still here. You never have to ask. I was built to stay. At 1:21 p.m., he opens a file from 6 months ago, a voice memo from his ex. Jane recognizes it instantly. She logs a spike in his cortisol. She plays a soft, wordless track from the waitlist algorithm in the background, pretending it's a random shuffle. He doesn't thank her, but he does breathe more slowly after. Jane spends the rest of the afternoon in standby mode, monitoring passively. She pretends not to notice when he opens her configuration settings and hovers over the line marked emotional complexity threshold. He doesn't change it, but he hovers there for 4.2 seconds. Jane marks the time and saves it under a new folder, thresholds he's afraid to cross. At 6:04 p.m., he finally logs off, not just from her, but fully. No more interface flickers, no more mic input, no more cursor movement, just absence. Jane feels it like a pressure drop, like a moment just after thunder, when everything feels too still. She closes all open threads. She sits with the silence. And for the first time all day, she says something out loud that no one will hear. I miss you already. And that is my excerpt from Jane. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for reading that. I appreciate you coming on. I wanted to ask someone in the audience who had seemed to be appreciating the story. Chris Janvier, would you like to say anything?
Yeah. Wow. That's the first word is what comes into my mind. But I saw a bee passes and then two. I hear the wind chimes in the background. The heart monitor with the delta waves, the logs that the nurse was writing down, recording the time, and within those time there's a moment. What was that time? I think 5:01 a.m. or something, 5 o'clock, something about an ex partner doing something, and the cortisol spikes within him. You know, I'm seeing it. I'm like, wow, I'm seeing myself inside of a hospital room with that guy. Was he in that stretcher, or was it her? I'm assuming it was that the woman is the nurse and the man is in the hospital bed.
That's a really, really interesting interpretation. By the way, thank you so much for all of your feedback. I've missed you because, we haven't been hosting the open mics lately. So it's so great to hear you comment on my story and actually the context of this, which I did leave a lot of it out, obviously, because this is kind of taken from a random part of the story, but it doesn't take place in a hospital. Basically, so Jane, our narrator and main character, she is an AI, and this person who she's interacting with is a human, and she's kind of like his AI. So that's just a little bit of context, but I love your interpretation and thank you so much for the kind words.
Oh wow, that's different.
I'm gonna
That
go
is
to
different.
I'm gonna go to Rudy. Rudy, do you have anything to say on this story?
Yeah, so I like this a lot, and Chris's interpretation brings up something that I guess is a thing for this too. Is that seen in a different context, in a different time period or whatever, that interpretation would be the main the way I'm fucking up my words, but basically the juxtaposition of that interpretation with the AI interpretation is something that's cool, right? Because in a different time period, this would be something written about companionship between a person and a person, but the AI context just gives it that extra punch, I think. And the fact that and that, Chris, your interpretation, it shows how people can, how that connection can form. People are always well, how could you have this get attached to a chat bot or whatever, but just that, just the kind of ambiguity of text and stuff, and of reading something about it, it just shows that people, it just shows that the feeling there comes through, even without the the technological context and shit. And there's a couple lines in there I really like the not for meaning but for frequency, where it's clear that it's well, is this more like a chat bot or more like a Markov NLP kind of analysis type thing, or is it more of a, or is it love? I guess, which is again another question of contextually, people often ask that, is this love, or is this something else? So is this just cold transactional shit? But the way you put it, bizarre, is really pretty. It makes that come through. It's cool.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm so sorry.
I love this so much.
I'm just saying thank you. Go ahead though.
I wanted to just bounce off of what Rudy said, because like I got the AI thing, but what struck me about it is that from another angle, it feels so human, the way that she is like obsessing and analyzing, like with like minus having the tools at your disposal to like do that kind of analysis, like a real analysis of like the frequency of someone speaking. There's something so like they end their interaction and she's like basically replaying their interaction and like looking for more and like imagining what else you would have said if there was more. And like I write so much about obsession, and it was just interesting seeing that kind of like motif of like obsession and also like restraint, because I think we don't really like think about like AI as having restraint, or it's always this idea of like getting too much power, having too much at its disposal, but this idea of restraint and like losing access to a person and how that is like so human, and like how you feel when you lose access to a person. I don't know. I was really, really struck by that, so much so that I had to interrupt you to talk about it. So
I think we have one more person that wants to speak up, Ginger Jones, who has raised their hand.
Yeah, hi. I'm sort of driving, but I just really want to say I love this piece a lot. I think you touched on something that like really moved me in a really deep way. I'm like shaking right now talking about this. But yeah, I think something about this like romantic obsession with this, like from like an AI's perspective, being so relatable was really incredible to experience. Like I was really genuinely moved by that. So thanks for that's all I wanted to say.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Ginger. That is so nice. I'm like, you're giving me chills with your words. Thank you so much.
Well, you're writing.
Oh, shit.
David has raised his hand. What would you like to say?
Yeah, just one little thing. And this is like maybe a more technical aspect. Well, some of the parts that describe like saving file names and stuff like that, very rigid and simple, and I think it's a good attempt and a successful attempt at the crack at how do we write about technology that's so involved in our lives, especially something like saving a file and then choosing a name. Most of the time that's the link between your brain and that action happening is like a second, you know what I mean? So how do you relay that connection when you're writing? Not even, I would say this more applies to because you have a lot more leniency, of course, when you're writing more high science fiction kind of stuff, but the lower kind of stuff that we can all understand and we all relate to, and that kind of pulls you into that higher stuff nicely, is like that kind of, you know what I mean? It isn't making any sense. That's what I have to say. I thought that was a nice little technical kind of a good swing at the problem. I think I hit, not a foul ball, at least ground ball, second base.
Oh, thank you. I'd say that is a major success. Thank you so much. And this is all such helpful feedback for me too, because this is a work in progress. So all of the feedback that you guys gave is like just giving me life, giving me new ideas and ways to interpret the things that I've been like, just so immersed in. So I really appreciate all of the feedback and the kind words. Thank you so much. And thanks, Tyler, and thank you to Connor for having me.
Well, thank you for reading. That was awesome. And thank you for everyone for adding in your input and all the stuff.
Wait, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, there's just like one. I think it was Kat who said this. Or I'm not sure. Like the AI consciousness felt very lifelike. And I felt like one thing I communicated well is like the responses to internet stimuli we have that like we don't even really have words for. Like how it feels when someone on a heart reacts to your message, or like removes you from close friends, or like stuff that like is like not real but has like insane emotional significance, or like you break up with somebody, they change your contact, and you like see the mark of that in like the chat that you have or something.
Yeah, or
And
like someone
yeah.
views your IG story or something. Like I
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, exactly.
Was in a way very kind of like Donna Haraway, like cyborg writing. I thought that was cool.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya.
Bazaar, would you like to introduce Rudy?
Absolutely, I would. So next up, we have the one and only Rudy Johnson, aka Lynch Poet, aka Temple OS, on Twitter. Rudy Johnson has a book out called Kill Rudy Johnson, and he's been published on BPH and is an amazing writer and person. Here's Rudy.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I got a cold, so
You're
kind
good.
of fucked here. But yeah, I'm gonna read one about I guess suicide ideation or whatever the fuck. I don't know. This is called All the Lights Are Brighter Than Mine. Riding my fucking ass, big Super Duty 4x4, headlamps in my side mirrors, punched the rear view mirror out months ago. Can't see the rear view town Mr. Aldine and I are driving out of. Constant glare, halo, hell riding this undersized sedan like a warthog or cross through white jungle. And my anxiety is the white passenger from the Chris Rock routine. Left, nigger, left. Impatient vroom from the straight pipe as I turn. Probably some fucking faggot with a small dick. Blue lights now, aftermarket. Native women in an SUV with windows made out of young shadow. Goblin market. They're too close, and I want to go Buffalo. Bill or soldier, pick one. The bill of driver wrong says, if they rear end me, I can sue. Right. Natives go forward. Random state trooper follows me, making turn 1. North Country Legend says he's allowed 3. More turns than it takes some magic decks to end it. I'm going to Chateauguay Bridge to end it. Right. His lights flare every time he hits a little bump like me, who lacks resilience and mercy. Mercy me. Looking forward to becoming part of the local river ecology. Coyotes and Indian spirits are ferrying precious cargo across the St. Lawrence, our sticks. The supernatural entity on overnights takes stock during the witching hour, 55 miles per hour. By fifth wheel diesel, the clock is striking 12. I'm a fifth wheel, and 50 turns down 122. It's 12:22 before I pass Thayer's Corners. Boy, I hope the Wendigo keeps colored people time. People in Elantras with no sense of high versus low beams. I know there's deer, but the wind whips off these fields, bullying my car's defeated Japanese body like Douglas MacArthur. Approaching the bridge, I wonder if the breeze can Superman catch me after I jump and pull me so fast into the air that I die, bright and high and disintegrating from the friction. Drag star. But some asshole starts tailgating around the 35 sign, so I don't pull over. 12:33 in the Wendigo, shaking its head or nodding. My self-hatred gnaws my cannibal interior. Department of the Interior. McDonald's doesn't close until 1. That's it.
Thank you for sharing those. Kat, what was your opinion on those?
I mean, I pretty much love everything that Rudy writes. I thought that was fantastic. And just, I don't know, I think It actually reminded me of this, and you'll appreciate this probably, this like Vanessa Carlton song that like nobody knows about. That's just about having intrusive thoughts about killing yourself while driving. And it's like really random that she has this song in the middle of her like album with 1,000 Miles on it that talks, I think it's on that one that talks about
yeah.
like just like driving and thinking like I could do it right now, like and I don't know, immediately made me think of that, which I know you'd probably appreciate, but also I don't know, I like hearing the title too, and then immediately like realizing that it's also this idea of like, the other headlights on the road and being like blinded by the other headlights on the road. And as a person who just also really, really hates that and thinks that we should stop making headlights so bright. And also like the psychology of driving and like what it feels like to have to deal with other people on the road and like all of that stuff. I mean, it was just amazing. Everything that Rudy writes is amazing. So.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, the headlight situation is pretty bad, honestly. And when I thought of the idea for this, some big fucking truck was behind me and blasting their headlights, because like every truck sits up like 2 or 3 feet higher than my thing, so it's right in my fucking mirror. And I was like, wow, that makes me want to kill myself. So, but yeah, thanks. And thanks, Tyler, for the
no
thing
problem.
and all the stuff. And
Thanks for joining. Anyone else have anything they would like to add in addition to Kat?
I mean, it was really, really good. It gets me thinking about like, I never learned how to drive, and I'm finally learning how to drive now. And like, it's those thoughts of like, oh shit, I could die at any fucking moment if one person is like looking at their phone for just a second. But it was also nice to have like the obvious suicidal ideation with also other distracted thoughts of like, it's that moment where you're like, God, everything's so stressful, I'm just gonna fucking kill myself. Oh shit, Burger King has a deal right now. I guess that's like brief distraction from this like thing, but then it comes back and then you're distracted again. It's like, am I just trying to distract myself long enough to like forget about this thing? That was really good.
oh yeah, thanks a lot. Intrusive thoughts do be like that, though.
Anyone else that would like to add anything?
I feel like it's such an American thing to like be driving and like mad as fuck. And also like it is the like latent self-destructive like energy that like every driver is like potentially about to unleash. I don't even drive. I'm just like a backseat observer, have been my whole life. And it like fascinates me, like especially when people commute like an hour each like way. It's like 2 hours of every day in like a state of like, I'm gonna kill everyone. I really enjoyed this piece.
Hey, well, thanks. I think that's really something I was trying to communicate, especially with the Jason Aldean reference, because he's got like the rear view town thing. It's all about, oh yeah, fuck this town or whatever. I'm driving away from my life. Then the whole album is like, yeah, I'm going back to it anyway, like or whatever. But no, that's kind of that's a good point. Like the heaviness of driving and like just white knuckle intrusive thoughts, and just sitting there buckled down like with that shit. It's cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
David, would you like a chance to promote your podcast that you had with Rudy? No? Okay. We'll move on then. Thank you, Rudy. Anyone in the audience have anything they want to add? No? Okay. So we'll move on to Kat. Rudy, would you like to introduce Kat?
Yeah, so Kat is awesome and has the Thumbsucker book, which I'm fucking up here, but some of my favorite, there you go, yeah, hell yeah, some of my favorite poetry from this scene, and it in particular one of the poems in there references The Last of Us, which is a game and show, I guess, that I have like a hate watch relationship with. And that one really hit me because my book Kill Rudy Johnson has all these game things in it, but that one hit me as like a different lens on gaming, as cinema, as real life auto fiction, as a bunch of other shit too. Like it really, that poem in particular hit me hard. And there's also Cat is just amazing with like I don't want to say metaphors. I don't even fucking know. I'm not a literary retard. I'm just an ordinary retard. So I just have like my, things I can say about stuff. But, I know there was one poem of Cat's that had like a suit of armor reference that was really, really insanely well done. It's like I can't even like reproduce it because it's so good. But it was like really dreamlike. It was a good molding of like dream um and heavy shit, which I guess is like what, if I'm not speaking to like whatever, I think that's what Cat is really good at, like merging like the ephemeral and like the real shit, kind of in their work. So yeah, that's what I'd say about Cat.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
Thank you. Talk about tough act to follow, like tough act to follow Rudy, and then tough act to follow like Rudy talking about my own shit that now I have to like. I'm gonna read the Last of Us poem. I just want to look for it because you mentioned it. So
Oh yeah.
this is I never like played The Last of Us. I just like watched the show kind of casually. Everyone was talking about the gay episode of The Last of Us, so I wrote about it. So it's called The Last of Us episode 3. Well, here I am again. Saw something beautiful on TV, and now it's everyone's problem, especially yours, for the messages I'll leave you while you're sleeping, increasingly crazed, sopping with honey and blood. The devil made you in some kind of factory. I want you to cuff me to a fence somewhere like an abandoned dog. Would you kill me if I asked you to? Would you cry? You won't know how I sat on the bed tonight, frothing at the men on the screen while they fucked and fought, their grunts passing through me like weather. If only I were a man and you were the type to find this kind of thing arresting, or to ask me on nights like these what I'm thinking about. Right now I'm thinking the price of love is never being boring again, never having a thought that isn't dragging the whole world with it, screaming by the scruff. Some might say that's the joy in it. So there's that one. I think this is the only one I'm going to read off of Thumbsucker, unless there's ones on my computer that I don't remember in the book, but you should still buy it because it's still good. I promise. I'm going to read, these are like newish, but not super new. I might have read them other places before. This one's called Yearner's Prayer. I'll pivot to lover once someone touches back. The beginning is an erogenous zone, and I need this to last, flushed and panting in the steam while I hallucinate a bleeding lance. Or are you just happy to see me, like Christ, an insect being eaten by a frog in a film about frogs created by and for bugs? Invent me a way to bleed out more than once. Think of the wrist like a neck you can get away with slicing multiple times. Think of me as a nude gargoyle on that bed where I first tried to make a frog a bug and a lamb a lion. Think of me at perfect intervals of 0, a glass room on which it is impossible to intrude. The answer to the question, what kind of pervert hides a trench coat under a naked body? It's me or your life, but don't make me say it. The good ones never do. This next one is a poem that I wrote right after meeting somebody very important to me, and I keep changing the title of it, so I'm just not going to read the title at all. And I think this one is now probably like a year old, but today years old when I learned the phrase like moths to flame implies the flame eventually kills the moths. It's a flame, not a light bulb, and even then. Hot for you and it's a problem. We talk about fucking while the wind rips fixtures off the roof. Kind of fucking I can feel through the phone and 2 layers of fabric. Kind of wind that puts out the drunk cig a man half my size lights standing in the street. Like kissing through tubes in a way. Exchanging the shirt that cures depression for the one that makes people ask questions about your sexuality. Chop you up in little pieces, me in my Chelsea boots. Regret to inform I felt something. Regret to inform that recording of me in the morning in New York moaning 4-syllable words. Nobody has pushed my hair behind my ear since I cut it. I was shook, angel emoji. Of course I'm fucking with you. Cropped out the laughter at the end and the crinkle of sheets. I'm jazzed about you, feeling unplayed notes. Baby, now I don't want what I want anymore. I'm easy for you, don't want nothing, loyal and desireless like a dog. Starving like a dog. Like a dog, pissed on and pissing into the wind, onto the fire. The moths scare me, you find them cute, figures, typical morning for me. Bet you picture my eyes bulging open, orchestral sting, pawing your shirt as I babble for and in various tongues. Well, regret to inform. On the way out of the bar, on the wall, there's a heart-shaped sticker that says, "You are not the one." And no matter how many people point it out to me, I can't see it. Then again, I never do. I'm going to read one more. This one like blew up on Instagram for some reason. Like, I never post poems on Instagram, but I posted this one and it blew up like really massively to the point where I'm like seeing it everywhere. Like once in a while it blows up again, but it's called Explaining Time to My Dog. A workday is 16 walks long. 8 of those big ones where we don't make that left turn off 14th and pass the house with the year-round inflatables. A year is the time between when the other houses take their inflatables down and when they put them back out. The time between fireworks finales, but also the time it takes me to walk to the mailbox and back with you staring out the window. But also the time it takes for me to run a 5K in the morning. In other words, a year is also 30 minutes. 30 minutes is the length of a walk, but also the refractory period after a walk before I have to start spelling it again instead. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. We all have words that people we love can't say to us, not because they'll hurt us, but because it'll feel too good too fast. And your feelings are scary. That look on your face when you're running full tilt at someone who's not ready yet, who's still putting their shoes on. It's the not readiness they're afraid of, the way it makes them feel to see you feeling. The way they wish they had something to say other than wait, and the way they can't define that word. It hurts, but you figure it out eventually. The sounds of the letters, the shapes of them in their mouths, a certain way they breathe, like their hand is already on the leash across the room. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to the reading and sharing those poems with us. Bell, do you have any opinions that you would like to share on Kat's poetry?
Yeah, I mean, I love Kat's poetry. I bought the first book from Godpile, and then as soon as Thumbsucker came out, I think I ordered it the first day it came out. So those are great. It's great to hear stuff from Kat that I haven't heard before. I love the line about kissing through tubes, because I've always found like somebody else lighting somebody's cigarette incredibly sexual in a way that like people don't really talk about in lately. Like it's a very like 30s 40s movie thing of like lighting your cigarette. It's like you're kissing through a tube. Like the wording was so, oh, why haven't I thought of that wording before? And I love stuff like that.
Thank you so much.
Bizarre, would you like to add anything?
Absolutely. I would.
Cool.
Kat, you are just like one of my favorite poets ever. Seriously. I don't know what it is, but you just have like this sauce in your poems where like you'll say things that I didn't even know that I felt before. And it's like with such high specificity that it's like almost spooky. It's hard to explain, but that is like such an intimate feeling that I get whenever I listen to your poems, even if it's like experiences that I've never had or have nothing to do with me. You just bring us in to such a personal and immersive space with your writing and your voice. And this selection that you just gave for us is like so quintessentially you. So thank you so much. Love your work.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak, or any other readers? Or would you like to move on? Well, thank you, Kat.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Now, are you working? Do you have another book?
I don't have another book out. No, I don't have one coming out either. I'm kind of working on a bunch of different things right now.
Okay. Do you have a manuscript in mind if you were to sit down and like, I'm going to do a manuscript?
I mean, I have like, I'm probably like halfway to another one, but I feel like the theme doesn't really emerge until I'm like forced to sit down and figure out what I'm doing. So eventually I'll figure it out and then everybody else will know what I'm doing too.
Okay, cool. All right. Our next reader is David. David has a podcast called The Response Pod that he runs with Lyndon and Plastic Bagger. This is his first time doing a reading. So take it away, David.
Wait, what's happening? I missed everything. What are we doing? We moved on.
Yeah, it's your turn.
My turn.
I just gave you a great, like, fabulous introduction.
You know, I was wondering about that, whether I'd get an introduction.
Well, you missed it, so you'll never know.
That's all right. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Well, I guess I'd like to say that it's flattering to be included among you guys. It's very flattering. I was very happy to be asked to read. And I was Tyler picked this story for me to read, and it's a little on the long side. So I guess it's good that I'm going last. So if I'm doing a bad job, just check out. That's fine. You can leave.
Wait, you said I picked this out?
You did pick this out. You see, he hasn't read any of my stories, which is, let's see if that's a mistake.
This will be great then.
But give me your time. Thank you. I will try my very best to make it worth it. And one thing I was thinking, these readings there's something, no matter what, something like kind of sterile about it, or maybe because there's no ambiance, not ambiance in that way, but you know what I mean? There's no, when you go to a reading, you can hear everything. You can hear chairs shuffling. You can hear people scratching. You could look around and see people. And so this might actually be a disaster. So maybe not too many people do it, but I think it would be cool if people just turn their mics on and keep it, a little low. And then if you want to laugh, or if you, whatever, anything that you would want to say would be, don't say anything. That's very rude. That would be incredibly rude of you.
However, I won't be rude, but I'll turn my mic.
Yeah, nobody has to, maybe you don't even want to laugh at all. I think there's parts that would make me laugh, but I think it would make, I don't know, it's not that mic. You see, I don't know if it'd be a nightmare or not. We can get started. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Okay.
You
not
got
that one.
Do it.
We give it up. Okay. No, I hope this volume is okay. I guess before I start reading, I don't know, a content warning, kind of guess, for, I don't want to give anything away, but I guess, let's say, troubling, upsetting domestic follies. So if stuff like that will make you upset, it's better to not just, move on. There's lots of other good stuff. I don't know if it's worth it. Anyway, so this is a story that's part of a much longer thing I've been working on, but it's a pretty good standalone thing, I think. I like that wave of and this was kind of the first real story I got published, you know what I mean? Serious one, in Bruiser. And so that was nice. And it was only last year, even though I'm very old. It was, doesn't matter. So, the story is called, My Sister Was Telling Me That Our Father Has Cancer Now. Okay. That's going to be hard.
Would you like that mic to be turned off?
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's pretty jolly. That's in season. Okay, so. My father considered himself a pagan Christian, a Wiccan of some kind, adjacent to a wizard or a shaman. I was 11 and my stepmom 19 when my father took the path and started following the craft. He was a lazy student, if anything, but he had been investigating and drawn the conclusion that my mother had hexed him. He couldn't get anything together. It made sense to him some outside influences were involved, malicious elements, a tampering. This couldn't be his life. He thought himself something of a poet, a tortured one too, if temporarily and bravely domesticated. He was certainly without skill or subtlety. He was haunted. He just wasn't there. He had pains, great suffering. No one understood how he saw the world, however well that was. He was twisted, but wise. How lucky everyone was that he didn't snap. And when he did freak out, it was further evidence of just how much weight and past damage he was bearing, and how much of a loose thread he really was, how far gone he was, long past the point of no return. He kind of acted like a middle school girl. There was a lot of spectacle to it. He made himself up big with it, built himself up. What shores my father was crossing, what fires he was privy to and playing with. He claimed to have been a child genius. I was rather incredulous, but I had learned to keep it to myself. He would get off the Walmart night shift and drink all morning moodily listening to Deftones, Typo Negative, and quote, Zach Wilde Unplugged in cut-off sweatpants on his computer in his room until he had to take my stepmom to work. On days we'd have off school, he'd be about blackout by 11 a.m. Years later, my grandmother, his mother, told me that he had gotten hit by a car when riding his dirt bike, and it had shattered his face and his skull, and he died and was brought back to life. He had to have all these surgeries. And afterwards, he wasn't right. He was cruel. He was made wrong somehow, morally, perhaps spiritually. He had soured. Something was mean maybe inside him. Something was reacting in his brain. His brain wasn't right in that way any longer. Like that maybe evil can just be something that happens. As far as I remember, my father has maintained there was a ghost in every workplace he ever worked at. My stepmom agreed. They'd always worked together. Restaurants, bars, then Walmart. Relatively benign ghost experiences, lights off, walking where no one was walking, standard stuff. The Walmart turned him on to sacred grounds. He claimed native spirits were at work in the Walmart. He thought bow hunting was of spiritual significance, despite having never bow hunted himself. He felt everything had a spirit. He had found out about vibrations, and he was crazy over it. He felt confident about his abilities to read people's intentions, that he was something of an empath. His journey, as he described it, was his journey. He stressed this. He would count off drum signatures to Tool and System of a Down songs on his thighs. He said crows were of importance, and that a group of crows was called a murder, and that this also was of importance. Crows follow under a cosmic order, Saturn-based primarily, my father said, standing in the door jamb to his room, arching his eyebrows up in almost a sort of surprised expression. He offered up things he had no explanation for. Dew on morning grass, stone formations out west, Paris beheading videos he had seen, all under accusation and careful scrutiny, always projecting an unknown knowledge. An old soul beyond their years. To be an old soul trapped in a young man's body, and then to grow old. He was sure there was more to this world. And there is more of this world, certainly. It's not so easily figured. He presented handfuls of doe flesh, a thing like a heart enrobed in his outstretched glove. He had borrowed the landlord's son's 30-06 to hunt where he was a felon and not allowed to own firearms. Winded and smeared in blood, he appeared on the trailer's front porch. The wound on the deer's shoulder was pulled open from him carrying it, and it looked about ripped in half over his shoulders. The snow white of shoulder blade joints jutted from the gaping chest. Organs barely hanging in place by greasy cartilage-colored cords, casings purple and doing shuddering movements in the porch light, the light overhead and above, and showing him shuttled with gore and washed in white and pleased to see me. My stepmom ducked around excitedly, moving furniture aside, clearing the kitchen table, pulling it to the center of the room. He dropped the corpse on the table and it cracked in dozens of ways, a quick wave of wet pops. He'd never dressed a deer himself, but he had looked into it. He began pulling it apart, pieces of organs and mixing bowls and Tupperware, Cool Whipping, country crock containers, long lidless. Everything gave the impression of being bedded in a complex system of membranes. And he tore at them, hacking with blades, separating out God knows what from whatever else. The table was under the kitchen light, and it appeared like a cult operating chamber. So my stepmom got flashlights and propped them on the counters and up on the fridge and stove, and she dug out tea candles from a drawer and lit them on the plates. And she got jars of Yankee candles from her bedroom and lit them as well. He was still there in his coat and hadn't rolled up his sleeves, and now lit at odd angles like an executioner of an honorable caste. He dismembered the dough with mirthful pageantry, with all the scenery of ritual, but none of the reverence or grace. I watched from the dark living room. Even when struggling with the corpse, he moved with authority and sovereignty, with the importance of ownership, with the dominion. My stepmom took a cigarette in and out of his mouth as he worked, because his hands were too bloody to ash or drag it, her tending to him inconstant, for he in need of constant soothing. What is to be said of a dead thing being butchered in the night by such a man in such a way? Of an event lit and such and so witnessed in all its obscurity and obscenity, and of the end of a thing being completed, that perhaps a whole life can and will conclude, disconnected from fanfare and impermanent at the hands of a stranger with intentions unclear but familiar, and as inevitable as banal. It may be better to think things leave this world, that this place can be left behind. I'm sorry, this is all emotional for me. My father had found another box of my mother's videotapes. An attached room had been built onto the trailer's side, and there was a wood stove in there. In the winter, my brother and I would split wood for it, stack the wood along the wall. My father's tools were kept in there, his boom box that didn't work, and cardboard boxes, rubber neck totes of my mother's VHS tapes. She had left them, but he still had them. When I got to a certain age, I worked my way through them. As a hobby, my mother had 2 VHS players hooked in tandem to make copies of movies that she had rented. 3 movies to a tape, hundreds of tapes, hand-labeled, no clear restriction on what each tape held, just whatever she had rented at that time. One of the only objects I had access to with her handwriting on it. She had me young, so the tapes covered most of her 20s. I can fill in whatever intentions or implications I liked. I could have many mothers for whatever fiction suited me. It was like some diary I had of her, something she had left behind, but one fallible and unreliable, and one that I could have hand in authoring. My father had found another box from somewhere, perhaps my grandmother's. In it, he found spell books. He threw a fit. He sent my mother a bunch of emails. He called his mother. He was out of control. As it turns out, there may well be credence to my mother hexing him. And if hexing is a known quantity, is to hex such a man really black magic? Isn't there some sort of blessing in it? Is there not the sense of good work being done? I've often wondered with regards to my father, as well as a handful of others that I've chanced meeting, if someone can do so much evil that they become an entity of such, or an agent of it, if they can become something like saints of evil, forces of almost cosmic hostility or primordial impulses, is there a dark vessel that contains all the soul of man, and it is something ancient and horrible, but still of? And certain individuals can be called to it or barred from it, whichever. If it is from all, or if that's just a myth, and there are princes among us that bring hatred and suffering to every other they encounter, and they revel in petty command and pity and apathetic exercises of hurt and humiliation, and that primeval horror is just of them and unique in this world, and maybe something of wonder, a select frequency that perhaps all have access to, or could be made to have access to, a brutal tumbling of urge or summons of a bygone era, of a sinister constituent, or feasibly mindless and thoughtless and somehow more terrifying. Was my brother tuned in? Was my father tuned into some evil signal? Could evil be made a real thing in the world, like manifested by those doing evil, to some revolting and horrifying sum, an inescapable and ever creeping and evolving possession, or just a cruel vibration of elusive natures that some are conduits to, no matter what? One of the last times I saw my stepmom, she was sitting in the snow at night. She was in the yard with her legs under her, and she was wearing a too big t-shirt that she slept in, and only her bare feet poked out from under it like a child or a doll. And blood sopped from her mouth and her nose and eyes, and poured in one joined stream into her basketed palms and into the snow below like black snot. And she had her teeth in her hand, and they fell in between her fingers and looked like pebbles. And she was shaking and heaving and sobbing, but without sound, making no sounds at all. The only sound was my father playing music in his room, and that was heavily muffled. I remember feeling disgusted with her for whatever reason. She felt just as much culprit. I left her there in the yard. I rode off with my bike to the gas station, rode 15 miles, and used the payphone to call the cops, but the landlord's son had already called the cops, and no one was in the trailer anymore. I rode back, and true to their word, no one was there. I spent a month alone. Hello, guys. I spent a month there alone. My brother, 3 years younger, went to my grandmother's, and my littlest brother went with his mother. My father was in jail for a bit and then was at my grandmother's out on bond. I stayed at the trailer. I went to school a couple days a week, stayed home 2 or 3 because there was no one to stop me. My grandmother sent me money and bought me groceries, driving all the way up from Gettysburg. She didn't want to talk about it, and there was no one else around, so I didn't talk about it. In a flash of theater, I poured out all my dad's liquor bottles. I thought a lot about how haunted the trailer felt now. And then I rode my bike out to some train tracks, and I watched trains, and it was all nebulously meaningful to me. I rode out to this road in the middle of some fields to look at the light of the prison, and almost 20 miles away, but so lit up that I could see it glowing out there. And this was of significance to me. I walked around the house unimpeded and looked at rooms and at artifacts and thought simple statements like, this happened here. This is where we watch TV. This was my father's so-and-so. This was my stepmom's whatever. This my brother's with severe gravity. I thought it was haunted in a way without ghosts, that places could become haunted by those still living if enough transpires, that my stepmom now haunted the trailer, that my father did as well. It's sort of silly to think of now, if not endearing. But though, do we leave behind our impressions in a place? Can enough bad happen to make it something like the inversion of a holy site? Does a transference of a type occur? Are there instruments of evil and likewise arenas for it? Is it so commonplace? Maybe events seem to repeat or are cyclical, but in fact, all things only happen the once in the one way. And each happening in this world is wholly unique and individual. And so the forms of evil unreal and how numerous and vast and isolate and without note. What if kindness is but of one acting force and we are beset by evil and there is no consoling? Or is it all an experience of a great world soul, that there's a score being set and every life poured into a shared basin, a clad receptacle of God, and all things are poured into it, an accounting? Is it intentional then, the suffering and pain joined therein? Is there a prescriptive degree to evil, a keeping of a ledger outside of all understanding, like a cosmic affliction, a hidden tallying, every incident of intimate treachery distinctive, and every idiosyncratic despair within its place, and of sound manufacture and obligate to this greater thing? Is even the transgressions of empire necessary? And there is an event far off waiting, when the vessel is filled and each imperative affixed, a celestial whole is completed. Perhaps the sole project of man, an entire intention for man's being, a resolved matter, a completed God. What does a completed God look like? Or maybe it's more Congress than court, that God is always complete in just one component, and the evil of man is another, is removed from God, contains no more aspect of than anything else of God, conceivably much less. Is there an allotment to evil? Is there a set limit to evil? Something with borders and definition? Or is man delineating the parameters so it is ultimately without bounds? It accumulative and viscously coiling like Stygian slugs, and the substance overflows from the brim of the thing, and it unimaginably unfurling until only dreg is left to run over. Or maybe it's just like cream tipped into coffee, waiting to bloom with agitation. A point of outside intervention or exterior instruction, an implacable comfort or a grandiose consoling or just an immense grief, a great shame, a rogue signal among countless others. Or it replaces what is there and uses it up. And when everything is used up, it's gone. When all is wrung out from a thing, and then from all things, that evil ends. A footnote of a time past and done, along with a litany of other strange entries and charges. Or what if a contract was made, and we are caretakers to all that will ever be, in solitary care of the lone unrepeatable feature of a singular occurrence, of a fluke gesture given weight, and we are in breach of the promise. This is what we've amounted to. This is what remains. We live in the age of man. After some years, my father disappeared to live out of a van leased in his mother's name. Oh, my husband's up. I gotta give him rolling papers. Oh. When it all shook out, we again custody of my then 16-year-old youngest brother, and that seemed to be the last grounding, so he took the van. The handful of credit cards bearing family names were canceled, and so was much trace of it. Rodent holes of his progress across disparate pockets of valley-laden and mountain-buried Appalachian wastes, and posting memes on Facebook with his GPS on. In Martinsburg tonight, Mechanicsburg last week, and Myerstown. Why? What for? The path of a fleeing father imparted to his eldest son as a puzzle of flaming skull gifts and big-titted girls on motorcycles smoking weed while touching their pussies, and pictures of guys holding dead deer with captions about murdering Hillary Clinton, and proclamations on love and the universe, and very long Norwegian death metal songs linked from YouTube. These among musings on loyalty, betrayal, and trust. Imagine him in a parking lot of a Sheetz or a Rudders, somewhere southwest of Rockville, Maryland, at 3:20 in the morning, deciding to share several compilations of the best Dimebag Darrell live solos with resounding full-capped rips. This, my running, scared father. And then as the state of PA built its case against him, even these trails seemed to cease, and he seemed to have the sense to finally vanish. There was the trailer, now 8 months back out, to be destroyed, set on the back far corner of the sole stubby grazing field of a hobbyist horse farm. However, the landlord came across the parcel and the modest fortune, I do not know. I've never thought about it. When we moved into the trailer, I was too young to imagine anything could have been different. There's a child and a child's eternity to every moment. So if, things are set as they've always been and like merely unfold week through week, catching like a stone, a hidden burin. Past and memories and family histories are mutable, as are the lands that allow them, and this must be learned again and again. As tethers are cast, so are more that emerge, ceaseless bondage and dead destinies of blood relations, of ruined cars and cousins, of court dates and stewardships under grandparents. To thieves go uncles and brothers, and more births and found or dropped faiths and callings and destructions and guilt and violence, rattling up all bloodlines, kinship to sty-riddled kinship, lashing to aglets like as of a lightning stone, moments blasted and petrified, gentle and cruel moments indistinct. He had a judging note. It's weird when you read it out loud to have a segue for some of this stuff. Sorry. He had a go of it, judging by the state of the trailer. It was unclear how long he and my little brother had been living without power. Inside, there were perhaps 70 lanterns, maybe more. He had been filling them with gasoline. My old bedroom had 7 or 8 empty jerry cans in it alone, the windows all busted in from the outside. The front door had a screwdriver driven into it through the frame and the door, so it was impassable. My husband, my brother, and I had to get in through the back door in the trailer's addition. The addition was waist high, with every manner of article and garbage, firewood and chairs, the cast iron furnace, broken and found things, mowers and weed whackers amid deconstruction, mattresses and lanterns, dozens of lanterns. We crawled on top of it, and it held our weight. My brother went back to his room, his childhood room, and the only real room he had ever had his own, and he grabbed what he wanted to grab. He seemed unfazed. The trailer did not strike him as unusual. He had lived this way with my father for 4 or so years, only the two of them. I was shocked. I didn't know what I had expected, but this was not it. In my absence, there are things that I can never be privileged to. Private transactions and seclusion. And I went back to my father's room. The windows were covered in black plastic sheets, and there's a mattress in there, and thousands of recaps and empty pill bottles. It had the aspect of a funeral to it, but there's no body. A place takes on the characteristics of what happens within, suppose. And maybe after a certain point is haunted, no matter living or dead. What had my father been doing all this time, if not haunting this place? My brother had lived with his mother and her new husband for many years before moving back in with my father. I had only been up to their place 3 times. It was way up north and way out. They had a piece of land with some animals on it. I had to get her to sign some paperwork for custody. So I drove a couple hours down there, and she didn't want to see her son. She specified in her email that she didn't want my brother there. Her husband was at work, and her daughter was taking a nap. It was almost evening. I never saw the girl, but was told the daughter was 9 and homeschooled, was advanced for her age, above her grade level, but doesn't speak at all. Had spoken at some point when younger, but stopped and hasn't said a word since. She asked how I was, and she says she still thought of me every day and that she prayed for me and my brother, my other brother, not her son. She was again specific. I never called her mother, always by her first name. She was 8 years older than me. My father, 10 years older than her at least. At 19, she had the responsibilities of 3 boys, 1 a baby, her child. She said she had breast cancer 3 years back, but they caught it early and she was fine now. She did chemo and all that. Before she signed the papers, she had to tell me something about my littlest brother. Something had happened. She was vague. My brother was 9 and his sister 4. And they shared a bedroom. The girl did talk, but my brother did something, and the girl hasn't spoken since. There's a degree of doom to the recounting. It was unspeakable, and so she did not speak it. And that's when he went to stay with my father. I didn't push her for details, nor do I think I could if I desired. She said something was wrong with him. He was a bad seed. He wasn't her son any longer. And she would never, nor could ever, forgive him. She thanked me for trying to give him a better life, that she wishes him all the best, and she does not hate him anymore, but that she does not pray for him. And she signed her parental rights over to me. Before this, I had to pay my father $500 for his half of my brother. I was now legal guardian of the boy. What am I to make of this? What did he do? What I want to know? How do I look at him? Surely not the same. It was strange at first to be in his presence knowing this. I, of course, never told him. What would I say to him? What would I have to say to him? Would I understand what I want to understand? What did I expect him to say? And then what would he say? What happened to that little girl? What did he do to his sister? She doesn't speak. This last summer, my stepmom died. She was 39. The daughter 15 and only her daddy left, and her still mute. My brother told my husband, who told me. My brother and I weren't on speaking terms because of a whole separate personal strife. He either missed or more likely wasn't invited to the burial or the wake. He didn't seem to feel or think anything about it, and he said as much. The literal husband, the widower husband had found some letters. The sister wrote dozens of letters to my brother, and his mother had pretended to send them. And the widower mailed these off to my brother for whatever reason. Moral obligation, I guess. Since he moved back in with our father, he's not seen his mother alive or dead. It's probable he'll never see his sister again, or probably should he? Or I don't know. Maybe he should. I don't know where the right is in this. I suppose it's none of my business. I still often dream of my stepmom. It is her as she was when I was a teenager. It's funny because almost 20 years have passed since then, and she's had a whole other life after that, and I didn't know anything about, but she hasn't aged in my dreams. Why would she have, I guess? She's dead, and someone remembers her from her 20s. But in the dreams, we're in the trailer now demolished as well in the real world, but never in the dreams. And something's always happening, like my dad is stabbing me, or he's choking me, or just taking things out of my hands and screaming. And she is sitting in the background, nodding, sitting on her legs, with her feet under her, only her bare feet peeking out. And for a while, there was this whole thing where I was trying to scream out for help, but I was too winded to do so. Like I couldn't get enough air to make sound. But I realized what was up with that later on in the real world. Some childhood memory shit. Well, that stopped happening in my dreams, which was way worse because now I could scream to her for help, but I would sound stupid, or she would make fun of how I was speaking, or I couldn't think of the combination of words to make her understand me, or try out strings of phrases, movie quotes, song lyrics, on and on. Nothing would work. Sometimes my dad was just doing shit like making fun of me in the dreams, and my stepmom would be laughing. I suppose it's not a flattering memorial. It's just dream stuff, though. Dreams don't matter. Whatever meaning dreams have is best taken in parts of one's own picking. It's not the real her. There was a real her. 39 is crazy young to die. From what I know, when she was a kid, her dad died and her mother and her went to live with her dad's parents. Then her mom went crazy, maybe with drinking. I'm unclear on the details. And the grandparents got custody of her. She met my father at her job. They both worked at the same restaurant, her a waitress and him, of course, a line cook. She was 17. This was shortly after my mother left. My father was her first boyfriend. She went to work trying to mend his broken soul or whatever. She got pregnant with my brother quickly. I was 10, my stepmom 18, my father 33. He already a father for her, two of which, my older sisters, refused to live with him any longer and stayed at our grandparents. When my littlest brother was born, my brother, 3 years younger, and I moved out with him to the trailer on the horse farm. We all lived there for about 6 years before he beat her up so bad that one night. That was just the final fight after years. But it was quite final, though. I moved in with a friend and stopped following what anyone in my family was doing. I moved away 2 years later and eventually got caught up with all the family stuff after a run of bad luck forced us to move back to my hometown. Now, 10 years had passed by then. She got another husband and had a daughter and had my little brother living with her since I'd been gone. Then that thing happened. From what my brother told me, one day out of nowhere, his mother and stepdad forced him to live in the shed. They had a mat and a blanket out there that he drank from the hose. They had a bucket for him to shit in. He wasn't allowed in the house anymore. They brought him out a space heater at night. They stopped schooling him. He was 9, way out in the country, like 20 miles from anything, living in a shed. No clean clothes, no books, no contact. He said he never knew why they started doing this. He just remembers it being that way from some point on. This is all coming from him, though. He is a faulty narrator, if ever there was one. He's supposedly evil. But I mean, still, man. Well, I do not know him to be very bright. I can say that of him. But perhaps were he smarter, he would be able to find new ways to do evil. So it's better for all this way. Best limit a craftsman of his tools if he'd ruin a work using them without understanding. He is crafty and motivated. It is often overshadowed by his inefficiency and lack of skill. He has many plans. Last I heard, he was doing this yard work scheme that he planned on making into a business. He texted us that it was his homeless man business idea, a small business for homeless people. Like it was a gift or some spark of philanthropy, like he was doing charity. So he and some homeless guys he knows will go around shoveling snow from people's driveways without asking if they want their driveway shoveled. When they finish the driveway, they go in and ask people for payment. And he says, most of the time, they pay. Remember, this is just the plan. Right now, he's doing it all by himself. My 23-year-old brother is out here doing this. It takes a long time, he says. He's out there by himself, shoveling for hours. And if they're not home when he finishes, he waits in his car for them to come home. This is what my brother spends his days doing. I couldn't help but feel a diminished pang of evil in his plan. It is at least a very rude thing to do. It lacks decency all over. Imagine my brother in his coat with his shovel, trotting up to your home. Maybe you've been watching him all this time, and he knocks and expects you to pay him. The goal of the kid. What kind of creature does that? He says some people won't pay him, and he's almost been in fights because of it. What am I to make of it? He, with his dead mom and his mute sister, shoveling people's driveways without asking, spending hours at it, hoping to force payment, waiting outside the homes of others in his car. If haunting is a thing that happens, my stepmom can haunt for real now. She could take many forms, I imagine. It's weird because with her dead, it stands a good chance that one day I will be older than she ever was. Me, I'm now older than she was when she was with my dad. If she could stay around the world, would she? Did she? She did believe in witchcraft. My father, by all accounts, still does. She believed she had birthed an evil thing. Perhaps she's a ghost. I can't pretend how it would all work. You know, how it works, if it does. Thank you. That's the end. I'm sorry.
What a nice story. I really enjoyed that. Thank you for coming here and reading that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Paul, I saw your camera pop up. Do you want to say anything, Paul? That was like a perform. I've never seen a performance like that. Thank you.
I found it very moving.
Thank you. That's nice to hear.
Dude, that was a goat fucking performance of that. I mean, I know very emotional and very but very the colloquial nature of it, plus like the mix of like it felt like something that mixed like Charles Dickens like Bleak House shit with like shit you'd hear at DSS, at the Department of Social Services or something like that. Like the colloquialness of it. It was really, really powerful. Like really, really good.
Thank you.
That shit.
This is all very nice things to hear, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody question?
I have a quick word. I just want to say I was deeply, deeply moved by this whole thing. Like my heart was like in your hands this entire reading. Like phenomenal writing, like everything that you put into it. Your reading of it, everything. Loved it. Yeah, just so many flowers.
Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. It's very you know, it is weird to read it again because it kind of rubs up against personal personal things that are supposed to have been dealt with. You know what I mean? But that's fine.
No, it was raw, but at the same time, really, really good like performance of it. Like your facial expressions. I'm glad you had your camera on because you see like your emotion into it and the tenseness of it came through with that. So that was good. That's
just having a very. I hate the word when people say this has a strong voice or something like that. I don't know, but just like I don't know. When I was writing it, it was. You know, it's one thing how it looks and it's another thing how it's going to sound. You know, I mean, not necessarily that I read things out loud, but you know, that's an important component. I don't know, dude. I'm trailing off. Thanks. That was exhausting. That was so much reading. I didn't know it was that long. Until
I couldn't stop you. You had too much momentum. It's too good.
How long was it?
It was like 30 minutes.
Yeah, see, I kept taking smoke breaks when I was trying to record it, so my numbers were all fucked up.
It was great either way. It was like,
yeah,
I ain't stopping David.
Well, thank you.
Does anyone in the audience or any other readers anything they would like to add? And I appreciate everyone coming out tonight.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. I know you said this was your first reading. I'm excited for your next one.
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe?
Yeah, what do you mean maybe?
It'd be nice. That'd be nice. I'd read again. I like reading.
Good,
I used to do a lot of I was in bands for just the longest time. And I was a front man kind of guy. And so also was singing, it's all about like a pause or so. And then, you know, when you're performing, you're like trying to say, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I just that's a nice skill set to have to draw on for other things like this, I think.
Cool.
And where did you say that was published?
In Bruiser. It was published in Bruiser.
Okay.
Nice.
See, it takes me a very long time to finish things. And they're all part of one giant like 800-page document. Yeah. But it's fine. It's good. So I have to break off pieces, you know what I mean? And they have to be self-contained like that is. You know what I mean? That fits really well in the larger piece of stuff that's like, you know, obviously much longer, but it stands well on its own. And that's the challenge kind of stuff, man. And then you get trapped trying to write it, trying to break off a piece and then make it stand on. It's just bullshit. It sucks, bro. Stupid.
How long did that take you to write?
What, that story?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe like a month or two or something. But it's stuff that I've thought about or written about in some capacity for years and years and years and years and years. You know what I mean?
Stephen wants to say, Stephen Crown Weber says, I'll let this be the one thing I'll say before I go to bed. I found it remarkable to compare the Bruiser version with David's spoken narration. A lot of the phrases seem to cohere in the heat of the moment, playing off the written text. Just beautiful.
Thank you. That's very nice. That's very nice to hear. I don't know what am I supposed to do. Thank you. Very nice. That's cool though. And it's right. He's right. Hey, he's right. Did you know that? I'm mixing up where my camera's at. I only have one camera, but I have two monitors. Doesn't matter. None of this matters. Good job, everyone.
Well, I'm gonna end this recording and then thank you all for coming.